Hello folks, Steven here and welcome into TK Power Sports. In 2026, the Sport ATV segment has basically entirely dried up, save for these two units right here. That's the Yamaha YFZ450R and that's the Yamaha Raptor 700R. And in this video, we're gonna go for a big ride. I'm gonna review them both and tell you all the differences, so make sure you stay tuned. First up, let's start with the sizing on both of these machines because they are different. The Raptor 700R comes in at 72.6 inches long, 45.5 inches wide, and 43.9 inches tall. The seat height sits at 32.7 inches, while the wheelbase measures in at 50.4 inches. Now, when we look at the YFZ, it's interesting because it is wider and it has a slightly shorter wheelbase. So length on the YFZ is 70.7 inches, overall width is 48.8 inches, overall height on the YFZ is 41.9, the seat height sits at 31.9 inches, while the wheelbase sits at 50 inches. One other difference here is the weight. The YFZ is the lighter unit, weighing in at 405 pounds, while the Raptor 700R comes in with a wet weight at 422 pounds. Before going more into specifics, let's just talk about the general difference. And the thing you basically need to know is that the YFZ was designed for racing. That thing is absolutely optimized for the race course, where the Raptor 700 is a little more of an all-arounder. It's a little more meant to get out here into the trails, face different conditions, and that's why they're set up differently. When I sit here on the Raptor, I definitely notice it's got that taller seating position to it. I'd say a little more akin to what you're used to on a, all-terrain or 4x4 ATV. Still plenty of room to move your body around, and both of these units, it's so important that you're really moving your body and getting involved in the ride. Now, outside of that, when we're talking features, there's basically no features here. There's no screen up here. There's no power steering on either of these units. Nothing that sort of feels extra or added has been brought to the Raptor or the YFZ, and that's because these are both hardcore sport units, so I do definitely appreciate that from Yamaha. Now, the other thing you're going to notice looking up front here is the fact that the YFZ is wider, so you're getting longer suspension here, longer A-arms, the Raptor's just that little bit skinnier, and then when you're looking at the tires, they're also different, and one of the things here is that the YFZ has a stiffer tire. That thing really allows you to slide. It gives you more control, where the Raptor has a slightly different tire. It's a little more forgiving and a little more comfortable on the trail. So that's going to really depend on, what you're looking for out of your ride. Now, talking about the graphics, this Raptor's finished in sort of the classic Yamaha blue, but I got to tell you guys, I'm much more partial to this YFC finished in this super cool acid green. And these days, basically, these machines don't change. The biggest changes that come every year are the graphics package. So I was happy to see Yamaha do something a little bit crazy over here. Now, looking closer at the YFZ, one thing I want to point out is all of these body panels are removable without tools. There's these little quick disconnects here. You can pop those off of there, and you can absolutely strip this machine. Once again, this is designed for racers. When you're at the racetrack and you need to quickly access, your entire drivetrain and your engine to do work, this thing totally comes apart. That is not the case over there on the Raptor. Now, hopping on, again, you notice right away this sits a little bit lower. My body's not quite as upright. I feel a little bit more down in the machine, where the Raptor, you kind of sit up on top of the machine. And the center of gravity is also lower over here on the 450. And that's mostly thanks to the engine. The 700 over there is just a taller engine, so that CG gets raised up. Here, you sit low, and that really helps you to be able to move your body weight around easily and get this thing to go exactly where you want it to go. Now, one other thing I'll mention, we do have the accessory Nerf bars on here. This is one of those upgrades that feels necessary on these machines. I feel like most people are gonna get them, and they're just providing that much more safety for your foot. If it did slip off the peg, it's not gonna go down to the ground. Plus, it's gonna help to make sure you're not hooking a tree or anything like that. So yeah, there's a lot of little subtle differences. So now I'm kind of curious, after looking at the spec sheet and sort of sitting on them, what's really the difference when you get out there riding on the trail? Let's dive into that now. And here we are, folks, riding on this Raptor 700R. We're on some real twisty, windy trails here in Oregon, and these are true 50-inch ATV trails. No side-by-sides, no dirt bikes, nothing else is allowed here. So it's actually kind of a perfect spot to ride these ATVs because we're showing off obviously the sport aspect, but then also just the size and the fact that they still fit in these kinds of trails. So let's talk about the Raptor. And I don't really have a huge sport ATV background. I love riding this thing, but I'm coming at it more from I guess a general consumer standpoint. And the first thing you just have to understand is this is nothing like any other, four-wheel drive ATV on the market. You really can't even compare it to a Grizzly, a Kodiak, anything like that. It's just so different. It demands so much out of the rider. You can't just sit back and cruise on this thing. You have to be standing up, moving your body weight, constant adjustments. But that's also what makes it so engaging, is just the simple fact that you're riding this thing non-stop. And then the other thing you notice right away, and this is the suspension, the geometry, but also just the weight. This machine barely weighs 450 pounds wet, which also means your body weight can just dictate what it does so much more than a big, heavy ATV. And that's what you notice, sort of the precision that's here, where if I don't lean through a corner, if I don't get my butt up and off the seat, he just doesn't want to make that corner. And then if you do really move your body weight properly, not only does it love to corner, but it loves to slide. But it slides in such a controlled, predictable way. So much more than anything with independent rear suspension. And that's that trade-off, you're not getting the terrainability is a term that Yamaha likes to use. You're not getting the flex out of the rear end that you need to climb the rocks or navigate through tight forests. But the trade-off is when you slide this thing, it's unbelievable just how controlled it is, how much you can really steer that rear end with little throttle inputs and little body movements. And yeah, so far precision is certainly the word I'm coming back to, where on so many other ATVs now, you can kind of just bash through stuff because the suspension travel is so good and there's so much power. The Raptor, you have to ride it through everything. So yeah, if you reject all things modern and you really pine for that direct connected feeling between man and machine, there's really nothing better out there than the Raptor. So Scott, thanks so much for having me down here to ride this incredible machine, both incredible machines. I think with these sport ATVs, the real question is why? Why does Yamaha think it's so important to play in this segment when literally every other brand has gotten out of this marketplace?
Yeah, thankfully for us, the sport ATV market's strong. We're seeing so many new customers come into the market for both our YFZ450R as well as with the Raptor 700. And with that too, even especially with the YFZ, not only are people racing them, but we're seeing a lot more women coming in to ride this YFZ as well as to race the YFZ. Cool. And just with that, even when you look at our customer surveys, we're showing that, yeah, they have interest in side-by-sides, but they're still wanting to ride ATVs. So for us, it's kind of a no-brainer when the demand is still there, and we're selling every last one we could build down our factory in Newnan, Georgia.
Nice. You mentioned racing there. Can you just speak to that a little bit and just sort of what Yamaha does to encourage racing and to support the racers that you have?
Yeah, we have our Blue Crew program. You can find out more at YamahaBlueCrew.com. That's BLUCRU, but we do a lot of series, whether it's the Grand National cross country series, works, ATV MX, but really just supporting that racer and supporting everything they can do to, you know, go out there and be a competitive level. But we even do a lot of stuff like with the GNCCs, and we'll have like some little Blue Crew activations where they can come out, they can get pit boards, they can get umbrellas, all that cool stuff. And Johnny Gallagher's usually the man out there on site and answer all the questions they need, and just kind of another way to engage with the customer.
Sure, cool. And then finally, just because I know you ride these machines a lot personally, Raptor or YFZ, what do you go for?
I am definitely a YFZ guy. It just speaks more to my riding style. I mean, I love some characteristics about the Raptor, but man, I get on a YFZ to feel right at home, and yeah, it is definitely my pick.
So yeah, that was just my first stint here on the YFZ, but man, what a different animal. You know, to look at these two ATVs side by side, yeah, they're both sport ATVs, but they really are different in person and in practice. And again, just a little bit more wheelbase, a little bit more width. This YFZ, the predictability is really, really good compared to the Raptor, which is more of a firecracker. That thing's all over the place. You feel like you have to tame it and, you know, really be on top of it. Where, yeah, this YFZ feels, I don't know, just a little happier to eat up the trail and go around corners out here, which is nice. And of course, this thing is meant for racing. It was bred on the racetrack, and that's what the racers want. That super predictable handling, which is nice. Now again, the engine, the power band is definitely the biggest advantage of the Raptor. You can do more of the crawling stuff out here on a trail, going up through the rocks and stuff. It definitely has that low end grunt that you want. This YFZ, you're always ringing it out. It wants to be full throttle all the time. And because of that, it just means that, yeah, it's not the best for any of the slow speed climbing maneuverability stuff. This thing is so obviously a race machine, where the Raptor's a little more compromised, but the idea there is, yeah, you might be taking it to a place like this, so you want to get into that power band. So very interesting differences. Same with the seat here. You can see how skinny the seat is here in the YFZ. I feel like it's even skinnier than Raptor. I'm able to move my body around. There's just more space for me to really get my butt off this seat and drag this thing around. So yeah, interesting differences so far, and I'll keep riding and tell you what else I feel. Another thing I gotta say is I really like this color combo here on the YFZ. This acid green is cool. Now with this units, you know, they haven't changed in a long, long time. So basically model year to model year these days, this is what you look forward to, is a new color, new graphics. So overall, and this could probably be said for any ATV, but I think your usage case is really going to dictate whether you go Raptor versus YFZ. And yeah, it depends where you're riding and what you prefer. If you're on a racetrack and if you can afford the extra width, I think the YFZ is the clear choice. But if trail riding is your thing and you need a little bit more of that low end grunt and maybe a slightly skinnier machine, then the Raptor's going to serve you a little bit better. But I can confidently say that these are two of the most fun ATVs on the market, full stop. We've come to the end of this video, folks. Now I have to tell you, after my day out here on both of these ATVs, I would take the YFZ. I like that predictable handling. I like the stability from that little bit more width. And yes, I do like the powertrain on the Raptor more, but I just straight up found myself having more fun and riding even faster over here on the YFZ. But overall, it's just great that Yamaha still offers both of these units. Every other brand decided to get out of this marketplace, which just makes these two things that much cooler that they still exist. So thank you, Yamaha, for still building us some sport ATVs. And yeah, folks, that's it for this one. Now, please go below, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this video. As always, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join, become a member of TK Power Sports, and then come right back here to the channel and see what we're testing next. And if you'll excuse me, I got plenty more riding to do. See ya!